The hour of the house party had arrived. In my mind, I kept double and triple checking the essentials for the party. Knowing my dad, he invited his business partners and his exclusive of the Anderson comedy to show me off. Excuse me, it's her housewarming party, right? Like what the, like what the, what the, what the, what the, what the... Like what the... Okay. I stood in front of my mirror in my room, staring at my form as a million thoughts ran through my mind. It was just a housewarming party, but at the same time it wasn't. It was my chance to show my dad that I was better than his expectations. It was a chance for me to see my parents as a woman. It was a chance for me to see my parents as a woman. Maybe my English is not good, but that's not a good sentence, is it? It was a chance for me to see my parents as a woman. You want to see your parents as a woman? You want to see your dad as a woman? I mean, your mother, yeah, she's a woman, but you want to see your dad as a woman? Alright. It was my task to see if I was really ready to live on my own. Okay. Well, not truly alone. I had the incubi to thank, but even so, I didn't have my dad guiding me or my mom helping me through living alone. Yeah, bad parents. A knock on my door broke my thoughts, surprising me. Who is it?
Hey, are you okay in there? Your parents should be here soon, so you should hurry getting ready.
Well, I'm ready, but...
But what? I'm sure you look fine, Anderson. Just come on out.
Alright. Oh, they look so cute. Both of them. It's so cute. I love them. Oh, my dress is nice too. As soon as I opened the door to the hall, I watched as Naomi and Suzu faces turned from smiles to completely awestruck stares. But what?
Dude, you look hot.
I'm not a dude.
Yeah, you look amazing. Where did you get that dress?
I found it. I had it for a while. I just never had the chance to wear it. I figured I might as well bring it out now. Oh, they look so hotty, boys. I like you, and I like you, and I like you, you, and you. But you the most, Mr. Matthew. I stepped out of my room and closed my bedroom door behind me. As I walked down the hall to the grand lobby, the incubi stood waiting for me at the bottom, all dressed to the nines as proper servants.
Whoa, they really know how to dress well, don't they?
Absolutely. Yeah. I was slightly taken aback on how great the boys looked in uniform. Each had the poise of a perfect gentleman, even Sam. I slowly began to climb down the steps with Suzu and Naomi behind me. The boys watched as I descended the staircases one step at a time, like knights waiting for their princess. I felt my face slightly flush, but I quickly shook my head to try and regain my thoughts. As I reached the last step, James offered his hand out to me and walked me down the final step, smiling.
As beautiful as a princess, miss.
Thank you.
So, are you prepared for tonight?
As ready as I'll ever be. I couldn't deny that I was nervous, but I had to try. This party was more than what it seemed, and I had done all I could prepare for it. Now it was all up to fate. The other boys smiled assuringly at me, which made me feel a little better about everything. I looked at my phone and marked the time. Almost right on cue, the doorbell rang. I gulped. I could practically feel my dad's aura from behind the door. He's a demon too. Sam and Eric quickly rushed to the door and opened the double doors wide to reveal my parents, both dressed in their best. Oh, they look cute, but I don't like you still, Mr. Anderson. Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad.
Oh my, I didn't know your bequeathment came with servants.
It was probably overlooked. Besides, who would deny good service?
I was completely shocked. My parents didn't question the boys. They didn't ask for verification or anything. I looked to the boys and noticed Sam and Eric staring intensely at my parents. Were they using their powers on them? They had to be. There was no way they'd be okay with this otherwise.
I guess the servants counted as belongings to the house.
My mother quickly rushed to me and gave me a large hug. I hugged her back, inhaling her perfume. It had only been a couple days, but living away from the ones who raised me was hard. My mother soon let me go and looked at my outfit.
Gorgeous! You look so lovely. David, look at your daughter and tell her I'm right.
I looked to my dad, who was looking around the lobby like an inspector. I stood my ground, waiting for him to look at me. When he did, he let a small smile grace his lips.
Your mother's right. You look like you're all grown up.
Well, thanks, Dad. The world around me stopped as my heart pounded hard in my chest. Did my dad just compliment me? On his own accord? My mother was grinning ear to ear at his words. I was beyond speechless. Thank you, Daddy. However, his cold face quickly returned as he began to look around once again.
I assume that you're ready, then, to impress the rest of the guests, correct?
What do you mean?
The entire board from Anderson Toys is coming tonight.
Of course.
Even the vice chairman's son will be coming. All of them will be measuring your potential.
My potential?
To become CEO of the company.
I knew it. Something was off about tonight, and now this party had become much more than I anticipated. I gulped silently, but I nodded in response. I looked to the incubi, and they were continuing to be servants for my father's approval. I looked behind me and saw Naomi and Suzu raise their thumbs at me for encouragement. I let out a small breath before feeling my body accept the situation. I felt a way in my gut, but I had to hide it. As if time zoomed forward, all of a sudden, the main hall of the lobby was full of guests. Men and women in formal or business attire showed up to meet me and see my new home. I didn't expect many to come, but I was once again surprised that night. I shook hands with many officials and members, putting on the personal face my dad trained me to have. I felt overwhelmed, but I hid it well behind a small smile and handshake. Many even asked me questions. I tried my best to reply as maturely as possible. I had to remember, say what they want to hear, not what you want to say. That's so stupid. For your dad. Oh my god.
So, how do you feel living on your own at such a young age?
It's been pretty good actually. Yeah.
I'm so sorry about your grandfather passing away. It really hit all of us hard.
Thank you for your condolences.
Do you have college plans?
There's a possibility. Sorry if I'm getting through them and not reading them, but I have a time limit, so I just have to pick. I felt like the question came up one after another. Well, because it's true. It was, though, tough to answer, some of them because they weren't about me. They were about the company.
What do you think will happen with the company now that your grandfather has passed?
I really don't care. It will get back on track.
What do you think of the philanthropic policy the company has?
It's great.
Do you think the company should expand from just toys?
No. It's possible. Eventually, the questions stopped, and I was back to being myself. Naomi and Suzu, her picture is amazing, and Suzu were mingling in the crowds, and the incubi were doing their jobs. So I was all alone in a room full of strangers. It was unnerving to think about, but at least I wasn't being questioned left and right anymore. Suddenly, though, my mom pushed her way through the crowd to me, bringing along someone I didn't know.
Honey, I'd like to introduce you to someone. This kind gentleman is the son of the vice chairman.
He's nice too. Hi. With my mother stood a man who looked only a couple of years older than me. He smiled and held out his hand to me, silently asking for my hand.
Hi, I'm Andrew Lewis. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Anderson.
For now, I'm just gonna nod to him because I'm focusing on Matthew. Andrew was slightly taken aback, but gently smiled and lowered his hand with a nod in return. Sorry, man. So sorry. My mother smiled at both of us, which made me slightly concerned. Why was she so excited to introduce me to Andrew?
So, you organized this party very well, Miss Anderson.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Praise is very much deserved.
Andrew then chuckled nervously, bringing a soft fist to his lips to cover his laugh probably before smiling at me.
I'm sorry if I seem a little forward. I've just been excited to meet Harold Anderson's granddaughter.
Huh? Why?
He used to talk about you all the time in the office on how you helped him refine his toys. I only attended meetings and heard all of the stories. You've helped a lot with the success of the company without having to actually work there.
Oh wow, I didn't know he talked about me. That would explain everyone's fascination with me and their rather personal questions. I looked to Andrew, who had a kind face to me. Something about him seemed off, and I didn't know what it was. He seemed to be hiding something. Whether it was good or bad, I was not able to find out. I felt someone walk up beside me, causing me to turn to them. Next to me was my dad, giving his cold stare to Andrew, who suddenly became tense. Oh, poor Andrew.
So, you're Jared's son.
Andrew's body twitched slightly. Whether it was fear or insult, Andrew locked eyes with my father. I couldn't help but feel the tension between them. It irked me how fragile the air had become, enough to break at the wrong word.
You're the one who wants to be the next CEO of the Anderson Company.
Ah.
Well...
I stared at Andrew. The guy wanted to take my grandfather's place as CEO? I thought the vice chairman wanted the position.
David, leave the poor boy alone.
I'm merely testing the boy's conversational skills. Nothing wrong with that.
Of course not, sir.
And polite as well. Interesting.
If you'll excuse me.
Quickly, Andrew retreated away from my family into the crowd of people. I'm gonna stay. Normally I would follow him, but I'm gonna stay. I watched as he disappeared into the crowd towards the back of the house. I was worried, but I gave him space. He obviously needed it.
Peh. He's not CEO material.
Jerk, 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 jerk.
That's because you practically interrogated the young man.
A little questioning shouldn't have bothered him. He's obviously not ready for any title in our company.
I bit. I bit my tongue. I didn't want to make a scene with my dad. One wrong word, and he lectured me in front of everyone. That was not something that I wanted That is not something I wanted at my housewarming party. I let out a sigh before looking at the clock. It was getting close to midnight, meaning that the party was going to end soon. I lowered my gaze out of the window and saw a limo pull up. Whose limo is that?
Oh, that must be Lewis's car.
I'll go get him. Stay with your father so you can escort your guests out together.
Yes, Mom. My mother left my dad, and we slowly escorted the guests out. My dad held his simple smile as he thanked each person for coming. I did the same. Andrew quickly passed the doors before I could speak. Eventually, only Suzu, Naomi, my parents, and the incubi were left. My dad suddenly walked over and placed a hand on my shoulder with a smile. I stared up at him, a wave of confusion washing over my face. What?
You did good tonight. I'm proud.
Oh, thank you, Dad. For me, it's not that important because I don't like this man. He's not my dad.
Keep it up and you'll be a good CEO.
I don't want it. Oh, right.
All right. Your mother and I have to leave. I'm sure Naomi and Suzu need to leave as well. Just because it's Saturday doesn't mean you should stay up all night.
Oh, right.
Thanks for having us. It was a great party.
We'll come visit tomorrow or something. All right?
Right. See ya.
Good night, sweetie. Come visit us soon.
Will do. All 4 of my remaining guests left the building, all but my dad waving back to me. With the last of the gas gone, I sighed and sat on the staircase exhausted. Phew, that was tiring.
It's not like you had to do any work, though.
Give her a break, man. She was getting interrogated left and right.
Thanks, Matthew.
She handled herself the best she could.
As expected, Princess.
Since you're exhausted, why not head to bed? We can clean up.
Poor Sam.
Hush, Sam.
Are you guys sure?
Positive. It shouldn't take long.
Ho ho ho! It didn't take long to find you little shits after all.
I felt a hot shudder run down my spine. The voice from my dreams echoed through the air into my ears. I looked around, panicked, alongside the incubi. James placed a hand on my shoulder, trying to remain calm.
Don't worry. No one will hurt you.
Are you sure? Are you really sure?
Well, yeah. All of us shut our heads towards the doors, finally pinning down the direction of the voice. The doors quickly swung open, revealing a sight I would have never expected to see. Okay. Skin red as blood, eyes black, and gold piercing into mine. Roughening up close and a pistol in his hand, I saw a monster. I covered my mouth to not scream at the sight. Dry blood covered the bandana around his neck as he smirked at me and the boys around me. Beside the red-skinned man was a similar-looking woman in matching thug-like clothes.
Aw, what's the matter, boys? You really didn't think I wouldn't find you, did you?
I hoped you would, you piece of...
All of a sudden, the man raised his gun at Sam's face and instantly pulled the trigger. We all gasped in shock, instinctively expecting to see a bullet run through Sam's face. But...
What the fuck?
What?
What should have been a headshot ended with a loud but empty blank shot. The pistol echoed its empty shots as the man grew more and more pissed, pulling the trigger over and over again in aggravation. Lucky for my ears, it became quieter after the first shot.
Why the fuck won't you work?
This place is protected.
What did you say, Shrimp?
This place has a seal, protecting it from hellborn magic.
He asked the question. Man, Damien just answered.
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
What the fuck?
Ah!
The man growled, led and threw his gun at Sam, who was able to dodge it in time. The pistol bounced off the ground a couple of times before sliding further away, hitting the wall in a final stop. As it stopped moving, the gun faded into black flames that disappeared into the air.
The previous owner had this place protected by magic, Malix.
Malix, that was his name. His existence resonated in my memory from the dream I had. However, I looked to Matthew in the same confusion as Malik did. This place is protected? By magic?
It would seem that your grandfather had some sort of protective barrier around this house. From the looks of it, it only disables hellborn magic.
Malik's face grew to that of an extreme anger, his fist tightening as if he was crushing a stress ball.
Then what's stopping me from dragging your asses out and shooting you then?
Out of pure instinct, I stepped forward and placed myself between Malix and the boys. With no power, Malix wasn't going to fight. I took the chance to stand up to him, instead of being powerless, like I was in the dream. Get out of my house. Malik growled at me, walking right up to me and leaning close to my face. I glared back, feeling my courage skyrocket.
Since when does a little stain like you give orders to a guy who can rip your pretty little head from your body?
You wanna try, man? You wanna try? You really don't think, do you? If you kill me, you'll be hunted down by more than just the police.
You little...
Duck! I ducked underneath Malik's incoming hand. I stared at his hand and his black flame tattoo in surprise as I took a couple steps back from Malik's. Matthew and Damien stepped in front of me, guarding me from Malik's with their arms.
A quick one. I'm liking you more and more.
Thanks, that's so nice.
Back off, Malix!
Don't start acting tough, you pathetic excuse of a demon. You need more protection than her.
Don't. Oh, sorry.
Shut up!
Oh, did I make the little Matthew cry? Why don't you just grow a pair?
What a nice man this is.
Enough, Malix.
The woman, who had been standing in silence the whole time, planted a firm hand on Malek's shoulder. Malix looked back at her with a growl, and a glare that could kill.
Since when did you get the guts to speak out of place?
We both know you've never controlled me. I want them dead just like you do. But now's not the time.
Fuck off! I know what I'm doing.
Do you? Even if you did fight them, there's 5 against 2. We never win.
Shut up!
Let's go, Malix! We're wasting our time!
The two growled at each other. If they could have used their magic, I could sense the fire would glow from under their teeth. Malix grunted and glared at the boys. He pointed at James, wanting so badly to use his finger like a knife.
Just wait, pretty boys. We'll get you and fuck you up real good.
You okay, man? You okay? Then Malix turned to me, moving his finger to point directly between my eyes.
And don't think you're safe. Step outside. I dare you.
You sure you're okay, man? With that, Malix and the woman walked out of the mansion. The door closed behind them, leaving the boys and I alone once again. I felt my knees giving out from under me, forcing the boys to quickly turn to catch me.
Whoa, whoa! Are you alright?
Yeah. Why was he here?
He's been closely tracking us. Our blood trail from the forest must have led him here.
That's not smart.
We should have stopped him and finished it here.
For once, Matthew, I agree with you.
I stood up and rubbed my arms, feeling the goosebumps Malix left behind on me. I couldn't stop myself from shivering in fear of his words. Malix? Was he a demon?
That son of a bitch is not a demon. He's a devil.
Oh, right, and that's something else. A devil? There's a difference?
Yes. Demons come from a different plane of existence called the Abyssal Planes. Devils, however, come from one of the 7 circles of a place humans know, as hell. Despite us not being human, we are very different creatures.
That's good to know.
We actually have brains, for one. Devils always like to cause trouble and try to kill or torture others for their own enjoyment. Demons, like us, know when to use our powers and when not to. We're not stupid.
Well...
Devils follow orders from higher-ups in their order, and their power only comes from their connection to hell. Demons all have free wills and don't rely on where they came from to use their powers.
It was all so confusing. Demons and devils and magic all existed, and I happened to land in the middle of it. What do we do?
You're safe. You've been protected as well.
What?
What Damien's saying is that the magic that protects this place also protects you.
Your grandfather must have cast it when you last saw him or something of that nature. We can sense its aura around your body.
I couldn't believe my ears. It was the 3rd day of surprises, and this one took the cake in being the most surprising. I felt my head spin once again. What did I get myself into?
Miss, please don't worry. We'll find a way to train ourselves and become stronger to finally finish this feud.
I'm gonna kick his ass right now!
Until then, we'll protect you as much as we can. If Malix comes back, we'll be here for you.
But what about going outside? Won't he?
Like we said, you have a protection spell on you. Even if Malix attacks you, he won't be able to use his magic on you. He'd be just like any other human you can fight back against.
Didn't you say you knew Taekwondo?
Yeah. I felt somewhat relieved that I was mostly safe from Malix. Still, I could not help but feel very nervous and apprehensive about the future. The boys were safe here to train and become stronger. But what if Malix did the same? Even more so, I was lost about how my grandfather knew about magic. I had to find out. At least I had time. I went to bed that night feeling nervous. Despite the words of the incubi, I felt like a target to something I'd never be able to explain or prove. Magic? Devils? Demons? How did this all even happen? Should I really meddle with this situation? They only are staying until they defeat Malix. That's right. They said they'd only stay until they defeated Malix. After that, my life could go back to normal. Temporarily insanity, as Kay would say. The question was then, would I want them to leave? If my life went back to normal, then I'll have to care for the house all on my own. I'll get to focus on my life instead of being distracted by the boys. I'll have to. My life. Where was my life going anyway? I was under pressure from my parents, with only my friends and the boys to comfort me. Without the boys, I have no way to hide from my responsibilities. Enough. Let's just sleep and deal with tomorrow when it comes. Defeating my sense of thoughts, I forced myself to sleep, unsure of what tomorrow had planned for me. Hopefully, whatever the future had for me, I would be ready for it.
I promise to be with you forever.
Who's that?
You're so important to me.
Oh, that's Suzu and Naomi.
I swear I'll give my life to you.
James.
Please, let me love you.
No, Eric.
I'll be by your side, always.
Sam.
I can't imagine living without you.
Matthew.
I want to be with you.
And that's Damien.
I love you.
That's Andrew! The boy we was very nice to. I slowly opened my eyes, letting the voices of my dream echo in my head and force me awake. I rubbed my eyes before sitting up and looking at my clock. 7 a.m. Why am I up so early? I fell back onto the bed and closed my eyes, trying to go back to sleep. However, something kept me awake. Why? It's too early to even be alive. I feel that every morning, man. It's too early to be alive. I gave up and sat up, staring at the fireplace across my bed. A sigh escaped from between my lips before I threw my legs over the side of the bed. What to do at 7 a.m. in the morning? Make coffee, explore the house, work on homework. What to do? It's 7 a.m., right? Well, I don't drink coffee myself. I would make some tea, I think. I wouldn't do anything yet. Okay. I decided making coffee was my best bet in surviving the rest of the day. Why not? Haven't had coffee in forever. I got out of bed and made my way to the kitchen, unconcerned that I was in pyjama pants and a tank top. I rummaged through the cabinets for coffee machine and any makings for coffee. Surely my grandfather had some. A French press? Well, it's better than nothing. As I began to make coffee, I checked my email and text on my phone. No new important emails, no text messages. I sighed. I quickly made my coffee just how I like it and sat on the counter. But then I began to wonder, would this happen every day? I let the question linger in my mind for a whole morning. Oh. Alright. Just one moment, guys. Just one moment. Hold on. Hold on. I will be back soon. Sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I cannot multitask. It's apparent. Okay. Let's go on. Here we go. I did not think once about the boys or Malix. Everything was peaceful. Everything was average. Nothing magical or dangerous or unusual. I simply drank my coffee as I let the thought marinate in the back of my mind. I returned to bed. After coffee? Are you serious? Was it decaf? Feeling the weight of the morning dragged me under my covers to try sleep again. I had energy, but I wanted more sleep. It was Sunday and nothing was happening today. Come on! Come on, Ice. Back to sleep after coffee. I shut my eyes and tried to slow my breathing. I looked at my phone to check this time once again. It was noon, yet it felt like I had slept for much longer. Why is time going so slowly? I sighed, got changed into normal clothes and went out to the main hall and sat on the stairs. Sundays were very boring. However, the muffled sounds of battle caught my attention. Huh? I quickly went out to the backyard. It's a nice garden. In response to the noise I had heard. In the yard were all 5 boys practicing fighting. Sam was in the middle with the other 4 surrounding him and throwing punches and kicks at him. Sam, being the strongest of the bunch, blocked and dodged each almost masterfully. I'm gonna disturb them. Yay! Hey! All at once the boys looked at me, frozen in their movements. I just stood at the doorway, staring at them after my outburst. James was the first to break away from the group, stepping towards me.
Good morning. We apologize if we woke you up.
No, it's fine. I've been awake for a while now. I'm sorry I interrupted.
It's quite all right. We needed to stop anyway. We don't want to overwork Sam.
Oh, come on, I can handle more than those pity punches.
Your mind seems grateful that we've stopped.
Damien's so awesome.
Shut up, Damien.
Shut up, Damien.
Oh crap, we should probably make some lunch. I'm sure you're starving.
I can handle lunch if you like. You all seem to be very busy training to beat Malix. I'll take care of it today.
Whoa, seriously?
Yeah, why not? I'm not useless. I know how to cook and do other stuff too.
Well, no, I wasn't insinuating.
I know, Sam.
What he means to say is that we'd be really grateful if you could make lunch today.
Yes, no problem. As I turned to the kitchen, the boys went back to training. They seemed very determined to get better and to become stronger. Might as well make lunch today. It's been a while since I cooked. Lunch wasn't particularly hard. I decided to make simple chicken and rice. I love chicken. Gotta keep their energy and strength up with protein. I took my time to make almost perfect chicken breast along with some rice. Cooking wasn't hard unless you didn't know what you were doing in the first place. Well, I placed the food in the dining room. However, none of the boys were there. By the time I brought the final dish out, I carried that dish to the main lobby, catching the boys separating into different rooms of the house. Part of me wanted to go to one in particularly. The other part of me wanted to just leave them be and take the food in my hands to my room and eat. Maybe I could go out today while the boys focus on training. No, let's find someone. Find one of the incubi. I quickly rushed back and grabbed the second food dish before hunting down one of the boys. I looked down each hall trying to find one of the incubi, wondering so that I wouldn't have to go through each individual rooms finding them. I pursued my lips in irritation. Where the heck are they? I sighed, knowing that I would have to search for them in each room. I quickly turned and headed back to the dining room one last time. When I arrived, I gasped. Matthew was crouched near the kitchen doorway, peeking into it as if a rat had gotten loose in the pantry, and he was a stalking exterminator. Matthew? Shh! I quickly shut my mouth and pressed my lips together in silence, confused but fearful as to why I had to be quiet. I tiptoed to Matthew, who was crouching by the entrance to the kitchen. His gaze and head moved across the side of the kitchen, still trying to find whatever he was looking for.
He's in there.
What? Matthew's face was seriously fearful and intense. Who was freaking him out this much? My mind, however, instantly pinned the person down in my conclusion. Malix. Malix! Why did he come back? And why is he in my kitchen? I started to freak out, remembering the fear I had felt the first time we had met him. However, I wasn't sure. Where are the others if it was Malix?
I lost sight of him, but I quickly found him and cornered him in there. I know he's in there.
Who's in there?
That fluffy killer thing.
The doll? Fluffy killer thing? I bit my lip, suppressing a laugh. Once I swallowed my laughter down, I let out a sigh. You mean your cute bunny doll?
Yeah, that thing. Wait, it's not cute!
Matthew instantly regretted not whispering and covering his mouth. I could not help but giggle. What's he doing in the kitchen? Matthew turned to me with an expression of utmost seriousness. Something told me that what he said would be cute and funny, but I decided to bite my tongue gently to not laugh no matter what.
I don't know.
I failed to keep hold of myself and started to giggle again. The thought of a doll doing anything but sitting there made me giggle. Matthew tried to hush me, waving his arm frantically to keep me quiet. Matthew, Simon is a doll. It can't do anything.
You named him?
He is called the same as one of my raddies. It's also Simon. Of course, Simon Tabby. Cute, isn't it? Matthew let out sort of a defeated whine before turning back to the kitchen, trying to find Simon from where he was. I placed our food on the table and looked as well. So, what's your plan of attack?
Well, I plan to make my way through the kitchen as quietly as I can, and hopefully not get stabbed.
With his mini knife? Sounds simple. Matthew nodded in agreement before finally moving from his spot and tiptoeing into the kitchen. I stood there, unsure of whether or not I should follow suit. No, we're gonna join the hunt, of course. I didn't know why I was up for this, but I followed along. The small, adventurous side of me was very happy with my decision, but the other side of me was questioning me, asking me why I did that. Matthew slowly walked through the kitchen, scanning the cupboards and surfaces with a malicious glare. It was both amusing and slightly frightening to see how serious it could be. Do all of your toys get out of control like this?
No, it's just this one. I don't know why. All my other toys are okay.
Other toys? Matthew nodded, stopping his search to look at me.
That's what I do. Make toys. I made them for my mother all the time back in the Abyssal Plains, to help her cope with her position.
Her position?
She's the fourth wife of my birth father. Each of us have a different mother, and all of them, except for Damien's, are queens. My mom, though, hates sharing, so I distracted her with toys.
I didn't know what to say. A demon with multiple wives seems natural, but I guess because I was human, I felt a twitch of disgust run through my veins. Nonetheless. Still, it was adorable how Matthew tried to cheer his mom up with his abilities. I was then suddenly reminded of my grandfather and how he made toys all the time for kids. Matthew's power to make small toys instantly would have been so useful to my grandfather. I shook my head and began to search for Simon again. Let's keep looking for Simon. Matthew nodded before joining in. I felt like I was in a comedy mystery, looking for a child's toy instead of a murder weapon.
Come on out, creepy thing.
Its name is Simon. Matthew ignored my statement and began to slowly open the cupboards, sifting through the inside contents. I decided to follow suit. Hey, boy! I have to find a creepy toy. Is that okay? Is that okay? Is that good, Bijou? Can I do that? I decided to follow suit, starting at the opposite end of the kitchen. Matthew, what do we do if we find him?
We stick him back in my pocket.
I looked to Matthew, waiting for him to finish replying. However, he kept his eyes to the ground, trying to answer my question and remaining in thought. I continued to search the cupboards, unsure now if the plan was going to be if the plan was going to go anywhere. Why was I even doing this? Simon Tabby was a... What the? Matthew and I scanned the kitchen frantically, searching for the source of the laugh.
I knew that thing was evil!
Well, the laugh is evil indeed. Suddenly, everything went black.
Ah!
Who turned out the lights? I gripped to the nearby counter, not wanting to hit anything or fall in the darkness. There were no windows, so the room was almost completely pitch black. I could hear her skittling across the floor, like a rat rushing to escape with its cheese in mouth. I instantly jumped in fear before suddenly being pushed to the ground.
Ah, watch out!
I felt myself hit the ground with a body over top of me. 2 hands were slammed beside my head onto the tidal floor, stopping the person above me from crushing me.
Hey, are you okay?
Matthew. Yeah, I am. I stared up at Matthew, letting the situation sink in. We were looking for a doll, and now we were on the ground. What broke my thought was a flash of gold running across Matthew's eyes. I could feel heat radiating from his body, but the air was tense and his body was almost shaky. Matthew, are you okay? I heard him gulp, answering my question. He wasn't okay. I could tell, but he wasn't moving. Matthew?
Sorry.
Soon, a golden glow covered Matthew's eyes. I expected to feel warmth in my body from an upcoming spell, but I felt nothing. Something was wrong.
I need you to push me off.
From the sound of his voice, he was desperate to get up and off me. Why couldn't he move, though? Then it hit me. Matthew, do you need energy?
I do, but
Matthew shut his eyes to try to hide his golden gaze from me. He didn't want to take my energy. Why? Was he ashamed to? Let's kiss him. Let's just do it. If he needed energy, I was willing to give it. I gently grabbed Matthew's face and titled his head to angle with mine, leaning in closer to him. I brought my face and lips up to his and kissed him deeply. I didn't know if this would help, but it was how he got energy before. I shut my eyes, waiting for the draining feeling to reappear in my body. Matthew didn't move, nor did I feel energy drain from me. I opened my eyes and saw Matthew staring wide-eyed at me, but unmoving. He was unsure of what to do, and I had silenced him in confusion. I pulled away and spoke. I want you. I want to give you some of my energy. You used a lot of it, and I'm sure that the energy you took from me was only used for healing. Let me help you.
I don't.
Matthew, if you don't want my energy, just tell me, but I'm offering it to you, if you do. All of a sudden, I felt a familiar feeling of warmth run through my body once again. I felt my body slightly heat up as Matthew wrapped an arm around my body and pulled my body tighter to his. Matthew grew a lustful gaze before bringing a hand up to the back of my neck. Ooh, sexy time. The music is sexy time. Before I knew it, Matthew pulled me into a gentle but passionate kiss. Heat erupted through my body as he kissed slowly and almost timidly got deeper. Matthew kept an arm around my waist while I rested my hands on his chest. The energy from my body was slowly draining in the kiss, making me feel light and warm. It was almost pitiful how comfortable and how willing I was in this situation. Still, I had no regrets. I was enjoying every bit of this kiss. Matthew was full of surprises. As childish as he was, he definitely was proving to be a man while he was kissing me. Matthew wasn't forceful, but his kiss was deep and passionate, and it felt almost magical. It was how I imagined the first kiss to be like, except with energy drain. Soon, though, the energy drain stopped and Matthew gently pulled his face away to end the kiss. I stared up at him as we both panted for air. I had never kissed like that. Well, you didn't have a lot of kiss experience before, and I was so lost in the moment that I'd forgotten how to breathe. That is serious, girl. Matthew moved a strand of hair from my face to behind my ears, eyes still full of desire. Matthew stared silently at me, unsure of what to say. However, I could tell that he was full, yet yearning. I could feel the hold of his mind-altering spell fade away, but I still felt hot. Something told me that I wanted more, but at the same time, I wasn't sure if I truly did want to give any more. Let's keep going. We're in sexy time now. I mean, I'm getting uncomfortable, definitely, but let's keep going. This is the game, let's go. I opened the opportunity, and I was enjoying it as much as he was. I wanted more, and I was going to let him keep going. I wanted to keep going. I leaned up and kissed him again. Matthew gasped against my lips, but continued to kiss back. I could feel him pull on the tail of my bow, releasing it and following his hand from around my neck. He moved the ribbon to his pocket before gently unbuttoning the top 2 buttons of my blouse. The desire in my body drove me insane, forcing a moan to escape my lips as he ran kisses from my lips down to my exposed neck. As he began to ravish my neck and shoulder in hot kisses, I leaned my head back and let a pleasurable sigh escape my lips. Matthew was ruthless in his passionate kisses on my skin. Matthew didn't stop touching and kissing me, making more moans and gas brush out of my mouth into the open air. He may have been full, but he was as hot as I was. I couldn't even comprehend how much time we spent making out. I was lost in the pleasure that I didn't care. Call it sinful, but I didn't care. I loved it. His touch, his kiss, his heat. I desired it beyond anything at that moment, even as he lowered his kisses down my chest to just above my bra. My heart was beating wildly in my chest. Something about Matthew intrigued me immensely, but something made my heart quicken for him. It couldn't have been love, but it was too passionate to be lost. What was it? However, I began to feel dizzy, seeing the ceiling start to spin almost wildly. I gripped to Matthew's shoulder, trying to signal him to stop, but my mind faded to black before I could let out another sound. I felt good. I didn't care that I was blacking out. I felt warm and fuzzy in the darkness. I never knew indulging in that kind of passion would be that good. I now just waited to be awakened, hopefully in a good way. Oh yeah, that was sexy time number 1. Hey, Sue! Yeah, sorry, I had to read sexy time. Yeah, you're a good boy. Yeah, it's almost time to go out. Yeah, we will go out. Yeah, soon. I promise, my boyo. You're a good boyo. My good baby. Yeah, you're good money. Yeah. You. Oh, yeah, you wanna get me. You wanna get me. My eyes eventually fluttered open, adjusting to the side around me. I felt familiar silks underneath me, letting me know that I was in my bed. I slowly sat up, stretching from the tiredness that still lingered. I felt a very soft pain on my neck and shoulders, and I could feel my swollen lips pulse gently in healing. However, when I looked down at my body, I saw that my shirt had been pulled back up and rebuttoned as if nothing happened between me and Matthew. I was just missing my ribbon. That damn ribbon! Before I turned to get out of bed, though, I spotted my ribbon on the pillow beside the one I slept on. It was tied around Simon's tabby in a nice bow with a small note attached to it. I gently slipped the note from the tie and opened it to read it.
I'm really, really, really sorry. I didn't mean for it to go that far. Please forgive me.
Oh, yo, she wanted it too. You know, nothing to be sorry about. I'm just gonna give my dog a snack. I'll be right back. I keep talking, but I know if you can hear me. But my doggy wants a snack. Here you go. You want a snacky, doggy dog? My doggy money? Here you go. Snacky snacks for my doggy. Alright. Yeah, you go eat the snacky snack. I stared at the note, letting a small smile grace my lips. He went too far. I enjoyed it a lot. It was cute though to imagine him thanking me for something we both did and enjoyed. I brought the note to chest. Okay. I would say my chest, but letting the memories of our meeting flop my mind. I indulged myself too, Matthew. I looked at the time out of curiosity. The large white numbers on my phone showed 5:31. Yikes, 4 hours of being knocked out, and I still feel tired. It was Sunday, so I was allowed to sleep longer if I wanted to. The remainder of the night passed by, surprisingly uneventful. The boys continued to train with each other, but were kind enough to stop and make me dinner. I was glad for that. Unsurprisingly, the food was perfect, but I felt a little empty without the boys to eat with me. They most likely had already eaten, but still, I felt lonely. I couldn't let it bother me. I ate and went back to my room to study and sleep. Surprisingly, I felt good going to bed that night. I felt like I could have a peaceful sleep after the previous rough nights I had. I felt good. I drifted to sleep and woke up almost flawlessly the next morning. No grunchiness, no aches, perfectly energized and bright-eyed. Man, how long has it been since I got that much good sleep? I looked at my alarm clock. I woke up 10 minutes before my alarm. That's good. That's such a good feeling, man. You're like, yeah, I can. The 10 minutes, yeah. Well, yeah, I must be lucky today. Karma owed me some luck. After all I had gone through in merely a handful of days, I deserve to get some good luck. There's a fly on my screen. Bijou, catch the fly. Did you like your snack? Ecstatic for the day ahead, I turned off my alarm before they could ring and got dressed. However, my phone started to quickly buzz from an incoming text. Who's texting me this early?
Yo, Anderson! You're carpooling with us from now on. We're not letting you waste your money on a bus. Get ready and be at your gate at 7 stat.
That's so nice. I smiled. My friends were the best. I couldn't drive yet and I didn't have a car, so it was awesome that my friends would let me carpool. I checked the time. 6:30. Perfect. I can eat some breakfast before they come. I packed my bags and carried it downstairs towards the kitchen. As I entered the dining room, I saw a plate with eggs, toast, and bacon sitting on the table. A fresh steaming cup of coffee sat next to the plate with the sugar and creamer on the side. I walked to the table and couldn't believe what I was seeing. Who made this? As I spoke aloud, a small red note caught my attention. Have a good day. Yours. My heart skipped a beat as I finished. I could tell it was from one of the boys. Maybe it was from him. Matthew. I smiled before putting the note in my bag and eating up. The food was so delicious, I devoured every amazing bite. I looked to the time again. Time to go. I quickly rushed to the door, checking myself in the passing mirror. I wasn't wanting to impress anyone, but I still needed to look decent. Before I could reach the handle of the door, however, someone took my hand. Huh? I turned to see Matthew, who was holding my hand back with a concerned frown on his face.
My name.
Your name?
My true name isn't Matthew. I want you to know my real name. If something were to happen.
His true name? What did he mean? Why was he telling me this now? Matthew gently pulled me to him and leaned close to whisper in my ear.
My name is Zakeru.
Zakeru. That's nice. As he said his name, I could feel it lock into my memory. Something in my head would make sure I would never forget it. Matthew pulled away and smiled at me, despite still carrying worry in his eyes.
If you are in any danger, call my name. I promise I'll come and help you.
I stared up at Matthew, unable to say anything. I could only nod in response. Matthew smiled before releasing my hand and heading into the dining room. Something told me that name would be used eventually. And right on cue, Naomi drove up to the gates with Suzu waving me down. I rushed out the door and we headed to school, talking about homework and the coming day. We made it into the school without a hitch. Our lockers were in the same part of the hall, so we quickly unloaded what we needed to and got our important books and necessities. First incident of the day. As I walked towards Suzu and Naomi, who were both waiting for me on the opposite side of the hall, something hooked my ankle and made me fall forward. Whoa! Ow!
Hey, are you okay? Who did that?
Is it Lisette? The three of us looked back to see Lisette and her gaggle of girls. Lisette had a look of complete innocence while the girls around her giggled like no tomorrow.
Why, you little... Suzu, don't!
I felt a giant fire of anger burn in my stomach as I stared at Lisette. Today was not the only time this had happened to me. However, it was now clear who was behind these incidents. Even if she was innocent and one of her goons did it, it was now obvious that Lisette was the mastermind just from the look on her face. She was no friend, nor would she ever be. I had to do something. We're going to stand up and walk away. We're not giving her the satisfaction of reacting to that. Because that's what she wants. She wants you to get now. I don't think she wants to be get hit or get injured. But yeah, boy, yeah. But we're not giving her the satisfaction. Stand up and walk away. No, I wasn't going to bring myself to her level. Where's my boy? Come on, where's my boy? Boy yet. I had to be stronger than her, and only then would I have beaten her. Kom maar. Niet zo schrikken, joh. Alles goed. Ga je spelen? Goed zo. Sorry if I talk Dutch to my dog. I stood up and brushed myself off, pretending nothing had happened.
Anderson, you okay? That was a pretty bad fall.
Yeah, I'm fine. A fall like that is nothing. I merely smiled at them, not wanting to let them know the pain rushed through my body from that fall. My arms were quaking, my shoulders were pulsing, but I remained content-faced. I quickly gathered up my belongings and nodded to my two friends. Come on, we'll be late for history. Suzu and Naomi looked at each other before frowning and nodding to me. Naomi and Suzu flanked me as we began to walk to class away from the gaggle of bullies. As we walked, I could barely see Suzu flipping the middle finger to the group behind us from the corner of my eye. You go, Suzu.
Friggin' bunch of Lisette feet lickers. That's gross, Suzu. It's true. It's all OMG! Lisette is the best! Let's follow her around because we obviously don't have lives.
So true, girl. Naomi and I could not help but laugh. The group behind us, however, did not like Suzu's words.
At least my dad doesn't screw around in the black market to keep a stupid casino running.
Suzu stopped. Naomi and I stopped as well to look back at Suzu, who was completely red in anger. Suzu slowly turned her head to the group, glaring daggers at them.
The fuck did you just say?
I had to act fast. I placed my hand on Suzu's shoulder and gripped tightly, knowing she would try to push my hand away. Suzu, they're not worth it. Let's just go.
No, I think it's about time we taught them some manners. Suzu!
I looked at Lisette and her group. Lisette had widely amused smile on her face, which irked me to no end. Nevertheless, I knew that fighting wasn't going to get us anywhere. Let's go. I grabbed Suzu by the shoulder roughly, pulling her back to Naomi and me. Suzu tried to step towards the group, but Naomi held onto her other shoulder. We held onto Suzu, who fought against our hands as we marched to class. Surprisingly, well, beating them up could have the impact that they won't do it again, but it doesn't work like that always, you know, so it's a difficult situation. Surprisingly, the rest of the school day went off without another incident. I went to classes, had lunch, and was anxious to get home. As the bell rang for the school to end, I felt my phone vibrate in my pocket. Huh? A text? From Dad? Oh my god, what does he want again? I'll be picking you up today. Make sure you're ready to go when I get there. That's kind of a surprise. I quickly headed back to my locker and got my things before waiting for Naomi and Suzu.
Hey, are you ready to go?
Actually, my dad's picking me up.
Really? Okay, I guess that kind of makes sense.
We'll drive home together next time. Tell your dad that we've got you covered from now on.
Yeah. Alright. Even while I laughed, something didn't seem right. My dad texted me to say this. Why was he going to pick me up? Had I done something wrong? I didn't know. I waved goodbye to Naomi and Suzu before heading off to the usual spot where my dad picks me up. I took the time to listen to my music while I waited. I need to go to another Rise of Phoenix concert. Eventually I played the entire album with no one showing up. What the hey? That's never late, especially not this late. I quickly dialed my dad's number again, but as soon as I pressed call, it disconnected and read a signal disconnection error message. What the? No signal error? How do I not have a signal? I double-checked my phone and saw all 5 bars for a signal. He must be in the dead zone. Before I could finish, a group of hands grabbed at my hands, feet, and covered my mouth. I screamed into the hand over my mouth, struggling to pull away from the hands grabbing at my limbs. It felt disgusting and scary, feeling their hands on me. I needed it to stop.
Hey! Don't dirty up Malix's prey!
The voice, which sent a fearful shiver down my spine, whispered into my ear.
You're coming with me, Miss Anderson.
Apparently so. Apparently so. I couldn't fathom what was happening, but before I knew it, I was blindfolded and my limbs were quickly tied up. I felt myself being carried somewhere and was shoved into something that echoed the exterior of a bus or a van. The door closed and off I was taken, unsure of where I was going and why. All I knew was that I was in trouble. All I saw was darkness. I felt numb and as I was taken to a place I didn't know of. I couldn't even move my lips to scream. Sounds zipped past my ears, first of the exterior of a car, then the outside, then an echoey space with whispers and crackles of people vibrating through it. However, the wrap around my eyes was eventually removed from my face and my bonds were cut. It took a while for my eyes to adjust, but I found myself in a warehouse surrounded by devils, including Malix, who was smirking at me.
Nicely done! I'm sure those little shits will come running to find you when they realize you didn't return to your precious little mansion. They'll search everywhere for you.
Malix walked over and set the barrel of his gun against the skin between my eyes.
It'll be so funny when they find your dead body instead.
Sekeru! All of a sudden, a purple light engulfed the room, causing the devils around me to cover themselves.
What the?
Gust of wind rushed past me, almost forcing me back. I covered my face with my arms, bracing myself and standing my ground. I tried to pick through my arms to see what was going on, but the light continued to shine brightly. As the gust slowly started to die, the light began to fade, revealing Matthew with the hands shoved in his pockets and his hood up. Matthew! Malix slowly moved his arms from his face, taking in the sight of Matthew before laughing hysterically.
Are you kidding me? You summoned the crybaby runt?
You're gonna regret that. Malik's laugh was cut short, however, stopped by his grasp of pain and the thought of something embedding itself into flesh. I couldn't believe it, but somehow a knife had been stabbed into Malik's shoulder, causing him to grip at it in pain.
What the hell? A knife?
Next time I won't miss your throat.
Nice, Matthew! Here you go! Ooh, the music! Malik snarled before ripping the knife out of his shoulder and tossing it to the ground. Why would you toss it to the ground, man? Just throw... He quickly raised his gun and shot at Matthew, resulting only to stare wide-eyed at his target. In mid-air, a knife and Malik's bullet clashed and both collided to the ground between the demon and the devil. Matthew chuckled and pulled a hand out of his pockets, revealing a handful of knives, planed out like a fan.
Too slow, Malix. Must suck being an old fart.
Malix instantly grew furious. Charging at Matthew, was shooting rounds at Matthew's shadow-covered face. Matthew followed suit, rushing backwards and shot his knife to each of Malix's shots. Each shot was stopped by flying knife, making multiple clangs beat through the air. The remaining devils stared, trying to figure out what to do, help Malix or watch in silence. Eris, however, walked up beside me and crossed her arms as she watched with an amused smirk on her face. As Matthew backed into the far wall, he stood still, tossing knives upon knife after the incoming devil and his bullets.
Gotcha, you knife-throwing circus freak!
I saw a smirk grow on Matthew's face before he hopped up and flipped over Malik. The devil skinned to a stop, barely bumping against the brick wall. Matthew, however, didn't give Malix a chance to turn before shooting multiple knives into Malik's back. Yeah, that must hurt.
Bye-bye, Malix.
Bye-bye! Matthew tossed the knife into the air and caught it before chunking it at the back of Malik's head. The knife, sadly, didn't get to meet its target as Malik dunked out of the way and turned to face Matthew with a face of pure rage.
You little shit! You think you're all that?
Matthew brought out another knife and tossed it up and down in his hand, unchanged in his cool yet almost playful expression.
Little known fact, I just like having fun.
I like you, Matthew.
That's a load of bull, Matthew. You won't even fight me in your demon form. Why? Are you afraid I'll kill you as the demon scum you really are?
Demon form? I didn't understand. However, Matthew broke my thoughts from trying to figure it out.
Hey, mind closing your eyes for me?
Huh?
What are you babbling about now?
Before I could answer, the tension suddenly went from warm to almost ice cold. Then, at that moment, something in the air changed. The air instantly went from frantic to still in energy. What could have been described in tone as the color red quickly turned into a deadly mix of purple and blue, and everything began to blend together all at once.
You asked for it, Malix. Now you're gonna get it.
My eyes never strayed from Matthew's face, however. Even as it changed, his eye began to glow a bright golden color as a dark blue circle formed underneath Matthew's bare feet. I stared at Matthew's skin began to morph and shift, changing from human to something else. For some reason, I was both scared and incredibly intrigued to see his new form. Yeah, let me see it. Before I was allowed to see Matthew's new form, however, a pair of hands quickly covered my eyes. Instinctively, I reached up and gripped them, trying to pull them off. A voice stopped me.
It's me. Don't look.
I listened carefully and let the last two words linger in my mind. Don't look. Why? What was being hidden from me? I wanted to know, but something told me to obey Damien's command. I suddenly heard gunshots, making me tense up, but then I heard the sound of multiple stabs, followed by Malik's scream of pain. The stabbing and the splashing sounds of blood and flesh grew more frantic and in number. I'm so sorry. How many knives was Matthew using? 100. Maybe it was better that I wasn't able to see.
Matthew, enough!
Almost instantly after James' command, the sound stopped. The only thing anyone could hear then was the dripping of blood.
I guess I went a little overboard.
Was it a little bit?
Malix is definitely dead, but you've lost your glamour spell.
Glamour spell? What did he mean? Why did Matthew sound so different? Why was this being hidden from me?
It's a spell that makes us look human.
I froze. Look human? They didn't have human forms after all. What did they look like?
Like demons.
That's not that strange, is it? As if Eric knew what Damien was talking about. Eric cleared his throat and spoke up, followed by the sound of a cork popping out of his bottle.
Well, not for much longer, Princess. Here, Matthew.
Oh, hey, you found my potion. Thanks.
I could hear the small clinking of glass being passed before hearing Matthew guzzle down a liquid of some sort. The feel of the air around me gently began to warm up again, insinuating that everything had been returned to normal. Finally, Damien moved his hands from my eyes, allowing me to see around me once again. The devils, including Eris, had fled. On top of Malik's body was dirty sheets that would quickly turning red from the blood. The wall behind it was painted red in blood, still dripping onto the floors and onto the blanket. Jesus Christ, what did you do, Matthew? The blanket looked like it was covering a mound of dirt instead of a body. The boys, however, had gathered around me, all of them, including Matthew, looking like nothing had happened. What just... I tried to speak, but everything zipped around in my head at the whole event, and I felt like speaking wasn't possible.
Let's just get you home, miss. There's nothing more to see here.
I could only not. What had happened boggled my mind to the point of disbelief. I was second-guessing everything, lost in a sea of what and how and when. As we walked out of the warehouse, I looked to Matthew for some sign that I wasn't dreaming. Matthew rubbed his back of his neck, walking forward as if to get away from what had happened. It was over. Malik was gone and the boys were finally safe. A wave of relief ran through my body at the thought of never having to deal with that group again. At the same time, a ping of realization hit the back of my mind. The boys were only going to stay until after Malik was defeated. That was our deal. As we approached home, I could feel something heavy weigh down my heart. It was too late, but the boys led me inside and turned on the lights in the lobby.
Finally, we can relax.
It will be good to have some rest without devils breathing down our necks.
I'm just tired. Can I hit the hay early?
I think some sleep would be good for all of us.
I looked to Damien, knowing he could read my mind, and frowned. I didn't want him to know about my thoughts on the situation. Yeah, that sounds good. I wanted to just end tonight. Too much had happened, and I felt dizzy from trying to figure it out. However, Damien spoke up, stopping all of us from moving.
Should we be gone in the morning?
The air became still with tension. The realization of the situation hit the boys like a wave, forcing them to turn to me in curiosity. They had remembered their deal, and were now awaiting me to decide their fate. I gulped, face to face with the reality of the situation. The boys were leaving it up to me. They looked like they were willing to accept whatever I had demanded. It was only fair, though, after all that had happened. I looked to Matthew, feeling my heart flutter in my chest. I didn't want him to leave, but would he ask to stay? I hoped that he would say no and ask me to stay longer. As if he knew what I wanted, Matthews moved and stepped to me, taking my hand in his. He gently smiled at me and spoke.
I want you to know that you've been really generous to us, and I want to thank you for letting us stay here. But is it okay if we stay a little longer?
My heart skipped while a large red blush ran across my cheeks. The boys stared at Matthew, wide-eyed, but I didn't dare to speak out. Matthew stepped back to give me space, returning to where he was. I moved my gaze across each boy, trying to make a decision. If they left in the morning, I would never see them again, and my life would return to normal. If I did decide to let them go, that would have been for the best. No goodbyes, no delays. But what did I want to do? They had done so much for me in such a small amount of time. No, we're gonna let them stay. Of course. I wanted them to stay. I wanted him to stay. I merely smiled, staring at the man I had come to have feelings for, before speaking at last. I would love it if you all could stay. The boys cheered tiredly, but nonetheless enthusiastically. I giggled at the sight. It was cute to see everybody so excited, despite the tiredness that ran equally through our bodies. Today was a rough day. My home is your home. As long as you can still help with the chores. The boys nodded in unison, agreeing to the terms I had set for them. Despite the good situation, I felt myself slowly slipping into unconsciousness. However, James quickly clapped his hands together, getting everyone's attention and waking me up, making sure I didn't pass out on the floor.
All right, everyone. We're all very tired, so let's head to bed, shall we?
Oh! Yeah, sleep is actually a thing. Right.
We've had a very long day, but it will be good to just relax tonight and tomorrow.
Sleep sounds really good right now.
Yeah, man.
I watched a happy smile grow onto Matthew's lips. He shared my excitement, knowing that we would be together longer. Who knew how long we would stay together? All I cared about was that I would be with him. The others quickly left to finally rest, leaving me and Matthew alone at last. My heart fluttered a bit as Matthew practically skipped closer to me in excitement. It was really cute to see him that way, so I didn't do anything but smile.
Thank you so much for letting us stay.
You're welcome, Matthew. I'm happy to have you stay here. I watched his smile brighten a bit before he cleared his throat and chuckled a bit. I didn't know if it was the tiredness or my growing attachment to him, but I felt myself sway a bit on my feet. However, Matthew's face made it clear that he wanted to say something else, making me forget that my bed was also calling me.
Listen, about what happened at the warehouse.
No, it's fine. You did what you had to do. I understand. I had accepted everything that happened and knew that Matthew had to do what he had to do. He was real, and he was someone I didn't want to be without, even if that meant nodding against my curiosity. Besides, I was too tired to explore that memory further. Matthew nodded before holding out a hand to me.
Come on then, let's get you to bed.
I nodded before Matthew gently lifted me up into his arms like a bride and carried me to my room. I didn't want to leave his arms, leaning my head against Matthew's chest, but eventually I was slowly lowered to my bed and covered with my bed covers. I was still in my school clothes, but I was too tired to strip or care. I looked at Matthew, fighting a yawn from escaping me, and he gently ran a hand over my hair.
Have a good night, okay? I'll make breakfast again in the morning.
I nodded with a tired smile before watching him slowly stand and leave my room, closing the door. A wave of happiness washed over me as I laid in bed. I made a good choice. Sure, it would be hard, but I could tell that it would be able to manage it. Help around the house and being with a man whom I slowly starting to fall for would be worth it. I slowly felt my exhaustion take over. I let my sleep consume me as I drifted into the darkness in my mind. Everything was peaceful. I was happy. That's it, peeps! We're there! The end of Seduce Me! Oh, I had a great time. I did. I hope you guys enjoyed too. This beautiful, beautiful game. It's so cool. Yeah. Seduce Me.
You are an interesting creature.
Yeah, it isn't over yet. We're at the half point. So I'm gonna stop the video here. We're going to do this last part, the next video. I hope you enjoyed. And we're going on with the sexy time. And a new, ha ha ha, you're an interesting creature woman. Bye.